Should we have a look at yesterday's game? Should we start there then? Because obviously Manchester City, 1 win in 12, which is kind of mental when you think about this is a team that, you know, did the quad, like 1-4 in a row. Absolutely insane. But if you think about how important, obviously, Rodri is to that side, if I have a look at maybe Liverpool in the 2021 season when they lost Van Dijk, or when Arsenal bottled the league with the Saliba injury, things like that, can one player, Jermaine, make up a whole team?
Look, one player can be vital to a team, but if Rodri was in this starting 11, I still think there would be losses on the record. Because, okay, you might be good in the defensive structural part of things, but they're not creating goals. He wasn't known for being a goal scorer, Rodri. Yeah, he came up with some good goals and whatnot. It was more just to make sure the defensive side of things, you know, stop the break-up, start the counter-attacks. Yes, it makes a difference, but I don't think it would have made this big of a difference if he was in the starting 11. I don't think that they still would have lost some games. Might not be 11 or 12 without a win, but they still would be in a sticky place. It's because their midfield is very, very... It gets overrun. Like Gundogan's 33, 34.
Kovacic.
He's 30. As soon as you get, you know, in those brackets, and you've got these young whippets now who are strong and quick, just running around you. We've seen it with Liverpool when they had Henderson, Fabinho. Everyone was talking about they need a new midfield. And as soon as they got a younger midfield, it just, you know, helps the team massively.
The physicality, I think, is massive. Like, when you watched the game yesterday against Villa, Morgan Rogers, who's obviously, funny enough, from their own academy, eventually ending up at Aston Villa, he was just running through midfield, picking up the ball, carrying it. They played really well. That Aston Villa midfield generally is a fantastic unit there. Yuri Tielemans, Onana, as well. We saw Kamara back as well. Like, they have a very physical midfield themselves. But the physicality compared to that, City are just losing out so much. They're just getting passed through so much. And all it takes is one creative player, someone who has a little bit about them in Yuri Tielemans, for that first goal, to find that perfect pass, and you're through. And I mean, Villa could have. Villa, I know they only scored 2 in the end. They could have had 3 or 4, if we're honest.
If you look around at all the teams that have got an athletic midfield do well. You know, obviously you need some skill, and you need creative, you need flair. But the ones who are athletic and get around the pitch seem to do well.
But this is the thing sometimes. I think sometimes when people talk about physicality, they think like, oh, it's just about being strong. Like, it's just about being 6'4" and being a strong man. Well, actually, it's not just that. Like, there's so many different elements to it about your stamina, making the right decisions and when to go, when to not go. All of this adds into it.
Football intelligence.
Football intelligence all comes into this. And your pace part of it as well. And if you look at that, we mentioned there, the City midfield, like, it's getting older, it's getting slower, it's getting weaker. And without Rodri, who has obviously just won the Ballon d'Or, and by that definition, one of the best players in the world, without him, City just look so much more average. And it wouldn't shock me if in the January transfer window, they went and got so many more reinforcements.
So what do they actually need to do then in January? Because it's clearly an oversight on their part, isn't it, to... Again, someone like Julian Alvarez, letting him go. He's been incredibly important in terms of Haaland, actually. I think we're seeing how important he was in terms of linking Haaland up with the rest of the team, and they really missed that. So letting him go and only really bringing in Savinho in the summer, that's a big oversight from them. When you have a look at other teams that have got City academy graduates, Morgan Rogers for one, Cole Palmer another, you know, why have they done that then?
This is the thing with City. I think City have just got to a stage now that they're not even doing... As we said, they're not doing the basics right, and also they're not even good at what they used to be good at. City were better in new possession, and they can't even do that now. So the fact that they can't do that is they need reinforcements ASAP. Like January, I think they need like
it's a tough market in Jan though.
Well, this is the thing.
It's not a good market.
It's not a good market, but
and it's an expensive one.
If you've got money,
an extra 20%,
you can spend money. And Chelsea spent what in January?
Like 300 mil.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Chelsea are different to City. City aren't that loose with the purse strings.
Yeah.
They are over periods of time, and it all accumulates. But obviously, Chelsea did a lot of things very, very quickly. Whereas you don't really go and see City spend. They might do the odd player here, 100 million or whatever, but they don't go and break the bank for players often.
But they could, because that's all they needed. But they need an overhaul right now.
So who do they go for in Jan?
Oh, goodness. I mean, there's been chats about, like, Zubamendi and Bruno Guimaraes, but, like, again, they're
Newcastle not letting him go January.
That's no chance.
Not for cheap,
no
anyway.
chance. Zubamendi, obviously, Liverpool were after him in the summer. He's a very talented midfielder. And Real Sociedad aren't doing as well this season, so maybe there's an option to go there. I mean... over the years when Pep's been at Man City, they've actually done this a couple of times where I think it's called he calls it like the shake up, where every couple of years he goes, all right, you've done your time, now for me to go and get the next player who's going to do this. He did that by bringing in Bernardo Silva all those years ago, so on and so forth, and they just haven't done that in the last couple of years. They let go of Riyad Mahrez, and yes, they've brought in Savinho, who I think looks good, but he's also exceptionally young, and that's a big task on your back to replicate Riyad Mahrez, and they've just not had this stuff. I think the other issue they have is, like, when I watch City, they are just trying to get the ball to Erling Haaland, whereas back in the day, Bernardo Silva would get 10 goals, Kevin De Bruyne would get 15 goals, Sterling would get close to 20, Aguero.
Then you add
so many
Mahrez,
more
Gundogan.
people.
There's so many.
Exactly.
Yeah, they had the option.
Whereas now it's Erling Haaland, second top goal scorer, Guardiola.
Let's go back to City then, because you made some really good points there, you know, about the fact they did have goals all over the pitch. And the one thing that obviously Pep is, you know, applauded for, and rightly so, is his ability to adapt. And, you know, when we've seen him put John Stones in midfield, things like that. But nothing seems to be working. Do you think what's happening at the moment at City, can Pep get them out of this by being Pep alone?
I think they need more than just Pep being Pep. Because, you know, if you don't change something, you're going to get the same results. And, you know, and it's not like all of a sudden these players in a week's time, in a month's time, are going to start playing better. It's not like they're playing bad. They're just getting, I think everyone knows what Man City are about now. And they've just been going the same way about business for the past 5 years, you know, let's say decade. Teams are evolving. Teams are investing. You look at this team; they've got the same majority of the players that have been winning the quadruple. All these, they haven't really invested in this team. They haven't. They've got Haaland, and apart from that, that's all they've got. So Pep, without new players, new shuffle, you're going to start seeing the decline.
And he's also not, like, we mentioned him earlier, Cole Palmer, someone that was at Manchester City, Morgan Rogers, someone with that Man City, Liam Delap, okay, maybe not at the likes of Aston Villa and Chelsea, but I think he's doing pretty well so far this season. Yeah. He hasn't given them the chances either. Really, the only prospect we've seen come through is Phil Foden and Rico Lewis, and that's happened in the last couple of years with Rico Lewis. And City have one of the best academies in the entire world. And they're letting these talent go. And, okay, they're getting £40 million for Palmer.
I get why. If you've got Kevin De Bruyne at the time, okay, you know, and then Cole Palmer's fighting for KDB.
And I get that from a Cole Palmer perspective, why he would back himself and want to go and, you know, play for another team and play regularly. But then where is the planning that from Manchester City? A player in Kevin De Bruyne who is often quite
injury prone.
Injury prone and out for long periods of time in the season. Where is the forefront of that saying, okay, well, actually, keeping hold of Cole Palmer, City wouldn't be in this mess?
No, they definitely wouldn't. And I think it's a bit of naivety from Pep and Man City. They were so dominant that, you know, 2 years previous this, they probably didn't foresee this. They'd have thought, this is not going to happen to us.
Is it arrogance from
it's
Pep
like
and
we've
City?
been dominant. It's like so easy. Like, it's been easy for them. We can afford to lose a Cole Palmer because we've got KDB. They didn't see that this drop-off was going to be drastic.
And did you think we would have seen the same Cole Palmer at Manchester City?
I think we would have. I think because he's a great player, and I don't think he's gone Chelsea. He is now this ultimate amazing player. He'll play in the same position that he's playing in now. Yeah. He'll be doing the same thing. You know, Man City's still a good team. Don't get it. You know.
Don't get
it twisted.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
But you know, Man City's still a good team. But at the moment, they're just lacking confidence. The creativity, the players who were stepping up to the plate are no longer stepping up. Grealish, Foden one goal. Like, we're almost halfway through the season. Grealish, Foden's got one goal.
Yeah. Grealish hasn't scored in a year.
Exactly.
Which is insane. Obviously, when you think about it. And then what always comes back is the
is it
price
though?
tag.
And they're
Grealish isn't
relying
a
on
crazy goal.
Haaland.
I know it's insane for a year to someone not score for a year, but Grealish isn't a prolific goal scorer. We do remember in his career, he's not got that many goals in his career.
But he's still been better creatively. He was still taking on a player. Yeah. Like, he doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah, but Pep said, take on a player and you don't play. Like, when
but
you go
look
to
at
Pep
you now.
Guardiola,
Like, look what's happening to Man City now. You need that.
We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we kind of did know that was going to happen when he signed for Manchester City.
But Jeremy Doku does take on players. So why is it a Jack Grealish
Because one, that's Jeremy Doku's game, and two, Jack Grealish was playing more centrally at Aston Villa.
That's his
here,
better
that's his
position.
better
Why does he
position.
play- why does he
For
not play
me.
centrally now?
Because
Why,
he's
and
not,
why can't he play centrally?
because
of
Man City are
Foden,
not going to
because
just do
of
that.
KDB.
But why?
Yeah.
Clearly, City are out of ideas, right? We all know that they're out of ideas. This could be potentially the worst season that we've seen City have since 2000.
Love it, don't
Well,
you?
since Pep took over,
I love it.
Pep took over,
2009.
right?
Like, yes,
Well, even
even
before, yeah.
even going all the way back. So if nothing is working, then why not? Loosen the reins a little bit. You know what a player Jack Grealish is. You don't just become a poor player overnight. Phil Foden doesn't become a poor player overnight. Maybe not pepping so much would make
Pun intended.
would make City a better team this season, or can improve on where they're at.
But will Pep change? Because Pep doesn't really change like that. He's like, I don't want to put Pep and Ange in the same sentence, but I have my way of playing it. It's worked. City have been working this well-oiled machine for 4 or 5 years straight now. So why is he going to change now?
But he has adapted in ways. Okay, he's always been about having possession.
I don't think that's adapting.
But
I
they
think
have
that's
changed
changing. I think changing and adapting is two
But
different things.
circumstances sometimes need change.
True.
Which is true.
Yeah,
And
true.
Pep
No, but
doesn't
if you
really
listen-
change.
But if you listen to him in his the way he speaks in his press conference about what's going on, he says there will come a point it's going to change. He didn't say he's going to do anything. He's just hoping.
He's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
I don't think people
he's
get
going to
it.
let it ride out. Hopefully, get a few players back, and hopefully pick up a few results, and then they get on that train again.
And he's got enough credit in the bank to ride this out.
He looks so deflated at the moment.
He does.
He looks so deflated at the moment. Like
I
even on the
love it,
touchline
mate.
stuff yesterday, where there's obviously we've seen the picture that's going around online, like hands in the air. But there's something about Pep at the moment where previously, whenever he was playing, when it was Liverpool who were on the charge against him, or whatever it might have been, he always seemed to have this confidence and to and have this belief. Whereas now, when you hear him talk about Man City, he's kind of questioning himself.
It's kind of accepting defeat.
Yeah.
He's accepting that they are stinking.
Yeah. Well,
And-
he sees it. Do you know, like with Pep, yeah. Imagine, do you know when your phone, you had a phone for like over 2 years and it just randomly stops working, and you're thinking, why is this?
The battery's
draining,
yeah.
and like you're thinking of stuff like, what's an internal battery? What does that mean? And stuff like that. That's what's happening with Pep right now. He's just watching this machine that he's built,
And his battery,
just
Rodri, has
crumble.
died.
Just one cog's gone, and it's just crumbling in front of his eyes. Like even when they score, like that goal, Gvardiol's goal in the Manchester derby, he didn't celebrate it. He just, because it was random. It came off an Ahmad deflection. Gvardiol's gone up and it's gone in, and he just looked at the camera and was just like, oh, like okay, like. I didn't expect that to happen. City can't even do the moves that they used to be doing, and he doesn't know why, because this has never happened to him before.
Of course, and this is a team that is not used to losing, especially
Exactly.
when you look at how many they've lost in
This
a
is
row.
a man that's not used to losing.
This
has never happened in Pep's career.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented for them. But then they have to go back to basics, right? Because at the moment, we're talking about Manchester City not even being able to do the basics correctly. They can't defend. I mean, if you have a look at that goal they conceded yesterday, the way that they just passed straight through the midfield, it wasn't even there. I mean, great ball by Morgan Rogers, great goal from John Durant. But this is City we're talking about. This is Manchester City. So you have to go back to basics.
The one thing that I've seen is that Man City used to press high, and you couldn't get out at times. They would just smother you, win the ball back, and then attack you. And it was hard to get out. You'd have Silva chasing you down, Grealish hard. It'll be so hard. Now they are not doing that anymore. They are scared of pressing, and then a team breaking those lines because they feel so vulnerable. They're like, oh, do you know, we're gonna have to just sit back, otherwise we're gonna take a beating. And you can't say that's all just down to one player.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not,
You know
it's
what I
not
mean?
working
He's not gonna-
situation.
yeah.
So is that a dressing room thing then, Jermaine? Because obviously you've been in dressing rooms where sometimes things aren't going right for you. And is that a team thing where you're either you've not saying that they're not behind Pep, but is that a thing where you've lost a little bit of belief in the system you're being asked to play, or is it a confidence thing?
Yeah, to me, this is like you can't go from that level to what we're seeing now. That's too big of a drop just for one player, and so I don't think it's formations or not trusting Pep. I think they're just shot. Their confidence is literally shot.
Yeah.
And they're feeling it. They're hearing the talk. They're seeing 11 games, 12 games like without a win. This is not this. What on earth is going on? Just as much as we're like shell shocked, the players are there too. So each game, there's so much riding on it. So when they concede, it's like everything just literally falls on the shoulders. It's a lot of pressure. Before, we win, we score. Oh, that's cool. We know we're going to score 2 and 3 now. But they're not even getting shots off anymore. They're not even attacking. They're not scaring anyone. So now they're worried. So it's all about confidence. And that confidence is massive as a footballer. It gives you the momentum, gives you the freedom. Things that you would do start working. You're now a little bit in your shell. Oh, I don't want to make this mistake now because, if they score.
It's a confidence game, isn't
yeah,
it? Football's
it's
confidence.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think as well that the league has just got so much better? Like we've got these
I think the
managers
league's got
here.
worse.
Well, do you not think like Bournemouth, for instance, have someone like Iriola, who is a tactically like fantastic managers? There are these managers now all over the place. I know. Obviously, Russell Martin was at Southampton, but he wanted to play a game where he could like try and do it tactically. All these managers thinking so much more tactically. And Pep's been in the league now for a long, long time. People are studying his game. They're trying to understand how to beat it.
Everyone wants to beat Pep.
And all it takes is one performance from a team who suss out what that team's doing, like playing a Man City and getting a victory or getting a positive result. And other teams will take notice and go, okay, what did they do that we can then copy? What did they do? And it helps that Rodri's out because now they don't have someone who can do the same stuff that Rodri was doing. But I think other teams are getting smarter.
I agree with you, and I feel like that game for us in the Premier League was Bournemouth away. When City lost to Bournemouth away, I feel like because Iriola came out before the game saying
He's amazing.
when he played Manchester City beforehand last season, he said I'm never going to play that way against City again. Which was he sat back and he invited City because why would you do that? That's stupid, right? Andoni. So he decided to play different, and we saw how that game went, and people were starting to replicate that. It's kind of the same way Amarin did it with Sport. I've got to mention Amarin, of course. But this was when he done it with Sporting with actually half decent players, and it worked. And if you can run at City, you can get at City, and we saw it again yesterday. But it's weird because City have lost games before, right? City have lost under Pep Guardiola, but this is a thing where it's just happening now. Like everyone's getting theirs at City, which is one like we saw Spurs do it and think, oh, if this man can do it, why can't we do it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Spurs did it twice actually. Spurs did it at home and away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.